Welcome back to West Texas View.
Just before the break, Geneva Dotson, the 40-year-plus experienced real estate agent, was talking about the steps you should go through in choosing a real estate agent, because you need to fit with that real estate agent just like you fit with other friends. You need to be compatible. So continue that conversation. You had just started it at the break.
Yes, I was saying that if it were me going into a new town, I would get the telephone book or newspaper, and I would look at the real estate people. I would also go through the phone book and see where they lived. And that's a good indication of finding a location that you might, or a place that you might want to live. And another thing is to interview those. Interview several realtors, and before you make up your mind, see if they're going to fit your needs, if you're going to feel comfortable with them. And go to open houses on Sunday is a good way.
That's a good idea.
And visit, and see how the realtor reacts to people that come through the open house. So things like that is basically if you don't know a realtor. But and another thing is to make sure that they are a member of the Texas Association of Realtors, and that they do adhere to the Code of Ethics.
And you should feel really, really comfortable asking them questions and telling them what you need.
Yes, and first-time home buyers I love working with, because they're usually young and they don't know much of anything about buying a home.
They don't know what questions to ask.
They don't. And with them, I usually have them come in and sit down with me, and I go find out what they're looking for. I go over the buying process with them and tell them what to expect, and then I set up an appointment with them at a mortgage company, and for them to go be pre-approved. I tell them at that point, then come back to me, and we sit down and go over what the mortgage company has told them, and the closing statement and everything they received, and see what questions they have on it. And then I make sure that they know they can ask me any question, because I can't absorb it all at one time.
Yes, that's right.
And so
even if they're taking notes, they don't know what their notes mean.
That's true, because there's so much to absorb. But anyway, and make sure that they feel comfortable with what I'm about to do for them. And of course, they can find their own home, but I do make appointments with homes that I think that they will like and that'll be in their budget. And then we go out looking for homes, and once we find their home, then of course that's when the real work begins.
When they narrow it down to this one, then you've got to make it happen.
That's true.
By the negotiations and other things.
And what I like to do with them, and I tell them, I say, okay, what we're going to do today is I've got a list of homes, but you tell me after each one what you like and don't like about the house. And if it's one you think would be a possible home for you, then we'll put a star by it. If not, we'll just scratch it off the list. And then the next one, the same thing. I'll ask you the same questions. What do you like and don't like? That's also helping me to see what you're looking for.
To eliminate some of the houses you might have been planning to show them, but not to, because they don't like that
true.
particular thing. Like maybe it has a single garage, and they say, I will not have a house with a single garage.
That's true. That's true. So then when we get finished with the homes in the market, we look at what they have decided on, the ones with the stars by them, and we'll get up to 3 or 4, possibly 5 stars. But then we'll take a break at that point and either go have dinner or come back the next day, and then go through those homes, because you've eliminated the ones you don't like. So we need to get those out of their mind.
And now that we're in the advent of computer era, you can go back and review it on the computer, because almost all of these houses now are, isn't that right?
You can. You can, but I do like to get them back in the home.
Oh, okay.
I like to get them back in it where they are walking through to where they feel comfortable. What house do you really feel comfortable in? if they get down to 2 houses and all of a sudden they can't make a decision, they have a lot of them say, well, which one would you buy? So
I'm not my house.
Not gonna live in it, so that's a decision y'all have to make. But I can show you some of the advantages and disadvantages of each house.
Good.
And
And you've already told them things like with the basic information sheet, things like school,
oh yeah,
districts and where the shopping centers are and those kinds of things.
Right.
But the thing that I think is very interesting in everything you've told me is you've done a lot of homework before you ever take them out.
Yes.
And you've asked them to think about some things before you ever take them out to look at. Because as you said, a lot of the first time home buyers or even people my age that are downsizing now, we don't really know exactly what we can live with.
That's true.
And we don't know what the market is, we don't know what prices, or if somebody's lived in the same house for many, many years and are ready to sell it, then they come to you and say, how much should I sell it for, and do I need to do any work on it?
That's true. And basically what we do when we put a house on the market is to first establish a price, and in doing that we look at other properties in the area, do what's called a market analysis, and what similar properties, and if the property next door has 3-car garages, this one only has 2, then you take away from the price that the one next door has sold for. Likewise, if it has a fireplace and the other one doesn't, so you add and add and subtract until you come up with basically what you feel.
And then I understand, and I'm not really sure I know all I'm saying, but I think they say how many days it's been on the market, and so you might show them something that's a little above their ability, but then you know that the seller may be willing to negotiate a little bit more steeply since it's been on the market for so long. So this comes with your experience of knowing
and representing a buyer. You can do that, where if you were representing the seller, then you need to stick with the price they're asking. But working with as a buyer's agent, then you're working for the buyer. So it's better to, you can come down a little bit or help them, to make that
when
decision.
we come back after the break, I want us to talk a little bit more about buyers markets and sellers markets, and if there's any thing, particularly we're in West Texas, we're in a real sellers market right now, but 6 months from now, who knows what. And besides, there's pockets within our viewing audience where it's really a buyer's market. And so let's talk about what you do in that regard. We'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation. Join us.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.